Happy Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome to this weekend's live broadcast here from deep within Denton, Texas. Here, that's our beautiful town square in the background. Pierre will be joining here just shortly. There he is, man, the man about town. Got to bring him on here. And here we go.
What's happening, mate?
Your tardy ass.
Well, it says only like 18:13 by me.
Man. Yeah. Well, we missed last week, obviously, with me heading to the great state of Oklahoma to get some last minute presents from my in-laws and some food. But we already know how it ended. Something I had wanted to do was do a long form video discussing what we're going to discuss today, because I just didn't have the I don't know. Sometimes you just don't want to do it, you know? You get what I'm saying, right?
Sure. Yeah, I know for sure. I mean, look, I understand you more than most, I guess. You know, especially when it comes to what we do, right?
Definitely.
So, yeah, no.
So I had planned on doing a long form video about 5 things to take away from the Rugby Championship. I mean, not on the list, but something I think we would very much agree with. The end result was the only acceptable result, correct?
Look, man, to me, that should have been the result in that second last game as well. So, for sure, that result was the only result that was going to be acceptable. We certainly went into that Rugby Championship on form. We went in there with a lot more depth than majority of the other teams. We had a lot more settled squad. Even though all the changes that we subsequently saw, most of those guys have been more settled, played together for a couple of years, with here and there like some new players breaking out, of course, that we've noticed, especially in the URC, is how well they're doing at the moment. But I mean, like, because we're part of that Springbok pack, and part of that, that people that really got to play with number 1 World Cup winners, number 2 somebody like of the caliber of Rassie.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, definitely the only result. I mean, everybody expects us to win the world, the Rugby Championship,
and we did.
We did.
Something of a bit of a redemption story in the final game. A guy that I think a lot of us were done with, a guy that we had grown sick of not performing to his level that we knew he could, and a new guy kind of stepping up and putting his hand up and really saying, like, hey guys, I need to be in the mix. And first we'll start off with Hendricksa, with Jaden Hendricksa. What I don't know if it was Rassie talking to him, if it was Kobus, if it was the people around him that were saying, hey, look, bud, you're good, but we need more. We need more. And I never saw him as a kicker. Granted, he did go 3 of 6 kicking on the day, but everything stepped up from him. His action out of the back of the rucks, everything. Like, he definitely put his hand up and said, hey, guys, I know you have Grant Williams, but I've got my own qualities here as well, guys. And definitely,
if you have a look at him kicking, also those kicking, you can almost forgive him. Because, I mean, 2 of those kicks that he missed was like on the sideline.
Yeah.
So and it's like anybody could miss it on the day.
But we saw what happened when you took that away from Manny Libok. It was almost like we took the training wheels off. I watched him make multiple chip kicks, not close, but right into the hands of the wings. Like, his chip kicking was unreal. Like, we saw it, and it was just like, wait, so if we just take that kicking away from him, everything else he does is top level.
Yeah.
And a bit of a redemption story. Like I really saw Manny as in a different light after that game. It was like, holy shit, this guy is elite, top level, you know?
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm in a bit of a two minds on that because I still feel like a fly half to be a complete fly half
needs to kick.
Yeah, he needs to be able to kick. Like if we need the 3 points, we need the 3 points. And for me, I don't want to forgive Marnie poor kicking because he's such a great player, right?
Yeah.
But yes, surely he is a good fly off. He's a good distributor of the ball. I mean, we've discussed that previously as well. I really like Marnie, and I was just hoping that he can get himself to about at least a 78% kicking percentage. Like in like the World Cup scenario and whatnot. But I think he was on something like 30% at the World Cup, which was very bad. I think it was like bottom of the log in kicking stats. So for me, it's great that you got somebody that can distribute the ball, but in those tight games, you don't have the luxury of let's say going for the corner. You have to take the point where it needs to be taken. And I mean, in somebody like for instance Sasha, who can play both sides of the ball, that's a nice luxury to have. Pollard, of course, we know he can play like that. But yeah, look, I mean, Monty is exciting. He's exciting to watch for sure.
And then one last little, we saw him step up, obviously. Before we started the Rugby Championship, Afalele Fassi has always been known as a liability defensively. That final game, he really showed, hey, look, guys, my hand is up too. Like, I know without, obviously, Valemza, who was man of the match this weekend for the Stormers, we know that's Valemza's jersey. We know 15 is for Valemza. But to me, Fassi really, really put his hand up and said, hey, guys, you've got another guy here that can do. And you always like to see that. You like to see the guys that step up and put their hand up and really say, like, once again, the captain of the Bulls now, Ruan Norkia, he put his hand up and said, hey, guys, I'm ready. Let's do this. And so obviously, like I said, the only result that was acceptable was, the win, winning the tournament.
No, for sure. Look, for me, I mean, there is a number of standout players, especially on the new players, right?
Yeah.
That really stood up. Like for instance, Ruan Norkia. Okay. I mean, sure, he played, I think, one game like 2022 or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, he really he came into his own, almost Loot de Jager-esque, if I can put it that way.
That was a lot of the comparisons. Yeah.
So
even in the appearance.
So that for me is one thing. Of course, yes, Fassi really stepped up his game. Like I was very nervous when they kept picking him, to be honest. But I mean, you judge a guy by his history, right?
Yeah.
So I was a bit nervous, but I was very, very happy that I got surprised by him, right? Because he actually played flipping well, attacking game well. Like we always knew he had an attacking game. Yeah. Our nerves were normally around a defensive game, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, he really stepped up his game there. Like in the air, he's a monster as well. So great on him for managing to put such a lot of headache on Rassi, when it comes to selection. When old Willemse is back, right? Because we all love Willemse. Got to be honest. I love Willemse. He's still my preferred number 15.
Oh, of course. By far.
For me. So, but I mean, that being said, guys like your new props, new props that started coming up, like they really played well as well. Look, I mean, we all know that I think that Oxen Chair needs to have at least a nomination for Player of the Year, right?
Man, that last game, he might have put in his best shift. I would say the entire. I mean, Oxen. And it's funny because it's so hard to kind of like not look at like Cheslin Colby and not realize Ox is the motor that's pushing this thing, and and I think you like it too because he's just such a character too. Like he's just this big guy, and it's like the salads don't win scrums and whatever, and it's like if he's not in the conversation, I've seen it brought up, and I've brought it up multiple times. I mean, people, you can scream all you want about the Frenchman that won't play outside of Europe, but you know.
Oh, look, I mean, at the end of the day, like no, there's a bunch of. I see Dirkie saying that he can't wait for November, man. Like we all can't wait. Like fuck, it's too long away. I mean, it feels like it's a year away. It's a month away,
dude. You know? It's been great. Hey, how's it there in the Mother City? So let's get into this. I made a list of 5 things that were like, oh, okay, this is what we need to take away from this rugby championship, and I figured you would be the perfect man to debate this with.
Let's go.
So starting at number 1, after wins against Tier 2 Georgia, the Six Nation rubbish bin Wales, people are talking about Joe Schmidt, who, we're back. They go 1-5 in the tournament. They give up 213 points allowed while only scoring 107. Is it safe to say that the Wallabies are a rubbish bin fire at this point?
Look, man, you know my opinion about the Wallabies, right? So I honestly think they are a rubbish bin on fire at the moment, mate. So I mean, that is the best way to describe it. I mean, let's be honest. Look, I mean, they gave Argentina a run, but I mean, Argentina like lost that first game for themselves, bro. So
and then Argentina beat the brakes. Yeah. Argentina beat the brakes off of them the week later.
Look, man, Joe Schmidt, I don't think he's at fault, to be honest. Joe Schmidt can only do what he can do with the talent at hand. And unfortunately, rugby is like the 9th biggest sport after NR, like the national, like their rugby leagues and shit that they've got going on there, right? So, I mean, all the talent is going for those games, like for the Aussie rules rugby. So, you know, rugby union unfortunately is getting I don't know. I don't want to call them the scraps of the bin, but at the end of the day, the guys that
that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is.
So I can't blame Joe Schmidt for not being able to make something of that teammate. Like the guys, I mean, when you have a look at them, it's just like they know where close to where they should be. And I mean, everybody always says, okay, I want a strong Australian team to be able to be competitive, etc., etc. Guess what? I don't give a fuck, okay? I want to fuck them up every game, okay? If I see Nick White, okay, I want to slap his mustache off his face every fucking time. That's the thing, okay? So at the end of the day, I'm having a great time over here with us beating the crap out of them, okay?
Yeah.
So, and that's because, you know, we don't all walk around with like what's that? We call it in Afrikaans, skierpapier. What's that fucking paper that you like?
Yeah. Like tissue, I know what you're talking about. It's like sandpaper.
Sandpaper. That's the one I'm looking for. Yeah. Like the cricket team does, you know. We don't like walk around with those things in our fucking pockets. But anyway,
is there anything we can do to help Australia? No. I mean, they're getting the World Cup. That should be enough help right there. That's the help they need.
They're not just getting the World Cup. They're also getting that British and Irish Lions tour next year,
which is going to be hilarious. I think they're going to go. I think 3-0. I could coach that tour and go 3-0. So obviously, it's agreed. Wallabies are a rubbish bin fire. Second thing I wanted to get, number 2 on the list, is Stanzar's coverage of the entire tournament was atrocious. Like social media wise, anything. Like we look down at like the Six Nations as being kind of a lesser competition, but at least Guinness and the sponsorship and everything behind that tournament promotes the crap out of it. Like you just don't see. It seems like they recycle the same footage every year because it's the All Blacks. And it's just like I just felt like Stanzar failed to really make this a spectacular thing. And it was because it really just, outside of those who were engaged with it, there was nothing that was saying, hey, everybody, pay attention to this. There just wasn't anything there. And it's just, it is what it is. The third thing. What I want to bring up.
Let's have it.
After finishing the tournament 3-3, the only team to beat every single other team in the tournament, with good wins against 2 of them. I thought the win over us was a good win. The win over Australia was a good win. And obviously, anytime you beat the All Blacks, the 2-time World Cup semifinalists in Argentina Is it safe to say that they're moving in the right direction? Is it safe to say that?
No, for sure. I mean, I think the biggest problem with Argentina at the moment is just consistency, right? Like game in, game out, getting that same type of game style going on. I think the biggest problem for them was in coming to South Africa. You know, they've already I think they've already won all the matches they wanted to win, type thing, right? Because they beat New Zealand in New Zealand. They beat South Africa on home soil. They beat Argentina. Well, they beat the fucking socks off them. So,
yeah.
I mean, they are definitely moving in the right direction, in my opinion. I mean, we also at one stage had consistency problems. So, I mean, I can't fault them for that. So, they for sure is going to be a team to watch in the next World Cup as well. I was actually disappointed that they didn't get further in the previous World Cup, to be honest.
Well, I mean, they made it to the semifinal. They've been to 2 semifinals now, obviously, and I think it kind of leads into the next part of it, which is you can definitely see the line that's been drawn now, which is our exit from Super Rugby became painfully obvious in this tournament. You could tell that the All Blacks in Australia were just not all there. They just were not all there. Now, Argentina, in the same way as us, they've sent all their players abroad to play. They don't have the luxury we have of having 4 professional teams within the country, but you can definitely tell the difference in I guess the All Blacks were good at a few things. We were good at several. They could beat you. It was pretty one-dimensionally the way the All Blacks could beat you or Australia could beat you.
Yeah.
The way Argentina or the way we could beat you was multifaceted. We could beat you with the forwards. We could beat you with the wings. We could beat you with the backs. And I have to say that it was painfully obvious from weekend 1. When we beat Australia and when Argentina beat the All Blacks in week 1, it was painfully obvious that Super Rugby is not what it used to be anymore.
Oh, look, man, it was gonna take a little bit of time to get to that point where you really start seeing the drop off, right? Because when we initially left, there was still a bunch of those players that continued to play in the professional team.
Yeah.
So a couple of years later, a couple of new guys coming into the fold. Some of the older generation falling off, like your Italics and Whitelocks and so forth. And you get guys like old Scotty to captain the team for some fucking reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But anyway, so and then you start seeing the drop off, and a couple of years later, it's really painfully obvious, as you say, that there's definitely something lacking, some form of competition for those guys, right? Because I mean, the better your competition is, the stronger you become. I mean, if you play lesser tier teams, like let's say we every year play Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia, and those are the teams we play.
It's not gonna help us. Yeah,
100%.
It'd help them more than us. Yeah. We had already heard a few months back Sam Whitelock coming out and saying like, yeah, we miss you can tell it's missed in the competition. He was joined during this tournament by Mills Moena from the breakdown. Yes, was mentioned in that. It was hilarious. John Kerwin is still MIA. And Israel Dag, other than pissing everybody off, also eventually admitted, like, look, it's painfully obvious that Super Rugby misses the South African teams. Now, I have to say this. I can say this. Super Rugby might have been the competition that we wanted, but the URC is definitely what we need.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not just for one or another reason. It's multifaceted, right? So number one, it's the financial part of it. Okay. Number two, keeping these guys, playing into competitions in the Northern Hemisphere that exposes them to a different style of rugby, right? So there's so many things that benefits to for us as South African teams to be playing in the URC. So I mean, sure, it also benefits the South African public when it comes to time schedules.
That's the best. That's the biggest part. That's the biggest part. It's the biggest part. It's an
And
hour
also,
time
well,
difference, no matter what. Yeah, it's
and it also benefits, of course, the players that they don't have to be when they do travel. It's not like a fucking different day whatsoever, right? It's like sort of like the same schedules. Yeah, sure, they're still having to travel, but I mean, at least it's still like you're not like jet lagged and sleep, like your sleep deprivation and all that type of shit's not coming to play.
definitely.
So I mean, that's all benefits, and the competition takes so long. It's such a long competition, right? That these guys always stay fit. They're always match ready. So when it comes to like professional rugby, like Springboks or international teams or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys are always on ready for the big show, you know,
Yeah.
and that counts in our favor, in my opinion. So, but that being said, you also see the difference in the Northern Hemisphere, right? Because they're playing us, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know they're all improving, and so and unfortunately for teams like in the Super Rugby competition, it's not faring too well. So yeah, there's a lot of things to be said for that, right? For the URC.
It's it's funny because it's like we've kind of, because of the URC, we've created new rivalries. Like I this is not part of my list, but it's something I must say.
Yeah.
We did a 2-test series against Ireland at home. We did a 2-test
Yeah.
series against the All Blacks at home, and I've
Yeah.
upset some Kiwi fans. I hate to tell them, you're going to
Yeah.
get spanked in Ireland. It's going to happen. You're going to get spanked by Ireland, because the thing I liked
also
about
think that,
Ireland
so.
was that they altered their tactics. They knew how to alter their tactics on the fly, much like
Yeah.
we can. And you
Yeah.
didn't see that with the All Blacks. It was the same thing. And I do have to, the last part of it is the All Blacks, but do have to finally commend them. They finally scored in the last 20 minutes of a game.
They broke that fucking dry streak, right? But I mean, let's be honest. Okay, I think there's a lot of different issues with this New Zealand rugby at the moment. Okay, so you know, it could be team selection, which is number one. For me, when I look at Razor, it's like he sets his mind on someone. Okay, and even though that guy is not the right guy, okay, he somehow persists with that player, even though that player is not the right player for that position.
You could say Rassi does the same thing too at times.
Yes, but he doesn't. But he doesn't have the players for it. So, and this is where the concern is.
Yeah.
Because why would you leave out somebody like Mark Delea and put Sever Reese on there?
I
Okay?
mean,
You explain it to me.
Hey.
You explain it to me. That guy's fucking fucks up all the time.
So to me, it's Mark Talea and Caleb Clark. Those are your wings. Those are your best wings. Will Jordan maybe slots in every once in a while, but the final part of this, and it was like the All Blacks, they're a riddle wrapped inside of an enigma. I don't understand how, look, via paper and via records, the greatest rugby team in history, they're a long way removed from Steve Hansen. Like, this is not even a shell of that team. Lackluster results, ill discipline. I mean, getting cards in every single game. Absolutely no depth. Absolutely no depth. You pretty much could pick the squad. And in the past, under Hansen, like he put, like, even after the 57-0 game, okay, which we all know very well.
Thanks for fucking reminding me.
Hansen wasn't smiling in the post game. Hansen didn't smile very often. Like, he always looked at something to push the team to even better. And you saw the results. The proof was in the pudding. They had this huge dominating win rate.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of those kind of things are kind of swept under the rug. They keep saying they're in a rebuild. Well, what was the last 4 years under Foster? Was that not a rebuild? Because when I think of rebuilds, I think of 57-0 to winning the World Cup in less than 2 years. That's a rebuild. That's a rebuild.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Getting knocked out in the semis, going 4 years, getting dropped to 5th ranking at one point, and then losing 3 out of 6 games in the tournament that you dominated for 20 years is not a rebuild. It's not. And I feel like All Blacks fans, they can't see the forest for the trees at this point. They're so stuck in their head that like, oh, this is going to be all right. It's going to work. And it's like, they had never lost to the Pumas in the year 2019. They had never lost to the Pumas. They've lost to the Pumas 4 times now.
Yeah.
And I think everybody has got their eyes on Razor like he's a golden boy. But if you put them side by side, he's basically Ian Foster part 2. That's what I'm saying.
The biggest problem is they've got a multifaceted problem. Okay. The first problem is not allowing fucking international players. Okay. So that's the first problem. I mean, people that want to go play for their whatever team, I mean, allow them to come back and play, mate. You need it. You need the fucking talent. Okay. That's the first problem. Okay. The second problem is, all right, is that you can't keep going on past like history, right?
Who were the starting 10s? Who were the starting 10s? Bowden Barrett, Hansen, Damian McKenzie, Hansen.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to take the chance to do something new. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's like,
no.
It's
but
obvious. It's obvious.
That's it.
And they're talking about bringing Brody Retallick and Aaron Smith back.
Yeah, imagine. Fuck,
for
man.
what? For what?
That legs are fucked. Retallick's legs are fucked by now, bro.
What? For what?
No.
We won a World Cup without the best hooker on the planet.
Yeah.
Because because a 37-year-old man said, fuck you, I can do this. Like, you don't see that there's nobody on the All Blacks that's stepping up. Well, Wallace Satiti had a few good games. He's the future.
Yeah.
They'll get Cam Roargard back on this Northern tour, but like, I don't know what
is their number 8, eh? I just want to say that for the record.
And I think the only reason it's because you had to have Sam Kane get 100 caps. Yeah. That's the only reason I think they did that. I don't know what the hell happened to Artie Savea. He went from being the best 8 in the world to just kind of being a guy that's there.
I still think Artie Savea is supposed to be like a flanker, mate. Get Wallace Atiti on the number 8 jersey.
Yeah.
And put Artie Savea on the flanker position. And I think that's going to change the fucking scrum completely, man.
I want to see Jasper versus Wallace Satiti at 8. Tell me that wouldn't be fun to watch. Tell me that wouldn't be fun to watch.
For sure.
Because you know they're going to chirp at each other the entire time.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, Wallace Satiti, he's what, 22 years old? So, I mean,
he's a kid.
He's still a kid. He'll come into his own. Unfortunately, our 22-year-old that was going to step up, he never stepped up, mate. So we had to go back to Jasper Visa. So that's an unfortunate thing, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just the fact that, like, it seems like with the All Blacks, their fans, just like I said, they don't want to accept the reality of the situation, which is that, like, look, you're in trouble. Bringing Richie Mo'unga back is not going to fix your problems. Like, that's not going to and we kind of talk about the lack of being able to select overseas players. I mean, you do understand why they have that rule, right? What would happen to Super Rugby if those guys didn't have to play there? It's already dying. It's already dying.
But also, I mean, you're going to have to do it, bud. You're going to have to do it. Okay. I mean, and then your teams can purchase people in from abroad as well. I mean, do what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like every team fucking buys. Like, buy yourself a couple of South Africans. Okay. Look at fucking URC, mate. Like, half those teams in the fucking URC is playing with half South Africans. Okay. So, I mean, get yourself a bunch of South Africans in there. They maybe help you guys out in the scrums, help you guys out maybe in your locking problem. Whatever, right? So at the end of the day, there's opportunities there, right? So
all you need is meat and beer. All you need is a proper filling of meat and beer, and you could keep a South African player. Something that has come up in the last couple of weeks, though, a bit of a rumor. Don't know if there's any truth to it, but have you heard about the potential that the Cheetahs from Bloemfontein could be joining Super Rugby? Do you think that would be a good idea? Do you think that would be a good idea?
I think it would be a great idea for the Cheetahs, mate. Because at the end of the day, what do they play other than Curry Cup? Okay.
Exactly.
So, go get your money, bro. Go get your fucking income. Okay. Get these people like more competitive. They're already competitive on like the Curry Cup level. But I mean they're nowhere when it comes to URC level, in my opinion, right? So I think they really need to go get their money, be able to like invest more in their team, like buy some players if they have to, that type of thing. So I mean, I think it would be great for them because let's be honest, we all love the Cheetahs. I mean, they're from the Free State, mate. Like you have to have the Cheetahs. So
it's kind of one of those things that's been brought up. Also, the other thing that was brought up I've heard is that possibly resurrecting the team out of Port Elizabeth, the Southern Kings, possibly resurrecting them and having them join Super Rugby. I've got no problem with it because honestly, I didn't ever really follow the Southern Kings, even though I had some big names on there. I never followed them, and the Cheetahs in Super Rugby were always kind of like the kick the shit out of them teams when you play. You just kick the shit out of them, and that was it. And I think kind of like, well, pretty much all the team. Western Force was the same way. The Sunwolves were the same way. You kick the shit out of them, and that was it. And if that's what they want to do, I still think it's kind of a bit ironic that in 2018, SA Rugby was broke. It was broke.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about sending teams to other competitions because we're so financially doing well now. And it shows you what World Cups can do for your teams. And if they want to do that, by all means, go ahead. I'm not getting up at 2 a.m. to watch you play the Chiefs, Cheetahs and Chiefs, or Cheetahs and I'm not getting up for that. Like, it's just not worth watching. But
catch up, mate.
But I mean, it also will help them retain some players too, though. And do I think it helps? Is that enough to help Super Rugby? No, I don't think so. No.
Nope.
So that was that. I just kind of brought up how, like I said, the All Blacks, I think they need to I think their fans really need to take a look in the mirror and realize it's not 2016 anymore, guys. Your team is not the best on the planet. It's not even, you're a good team.
Yeah.
But beating the Wallabies back to back in the way that you did, and especially in the first game where they could have lost that game in the last 20 minutes, is you're not back on easy street, guys. You've got a Northern tour where I hate to say, I think France and Ireland beat them like small children. It is what it is.
Like a red-headed stepchild.
Pretty much, yeah. Especially if they take that Finley Christie. He is a redheaded stepchild. But yeah, that was kind of that. Obviously, we had a weekend of all South African wins in the URC. What about the Lions, man? Shit.
Yeah, no, they were angry, right? Look, they had that team come back in it a little bit there for a bit, but I mean, they managed to score 1 or 2 tries again after that. But yeah, no, look, they were like 41-0 up at one stage.
48-0 at half, man. They beat, and I thought that, and I'm looking at like, oh, that's got to be Edinburgh's B squad. No, that was their best team they could put out, and I had to do a wellness check on some of my Scottish friends. I had to, text, hey man, you doing all right over there, man?
How y'all doing there in Edinburgh?
And then obviously what's been dubbed by Irish rugby fans is Altitude RFC, aka the Bulls of Pretoria, getting a win. Everybody got a win yesterday. It was the Sharks game was probably the most disappointing. That should have never been that close. Like that was
Look, I mean, Stormers beat the absolute brakes off. Who was it that they played? Zebra? Who was it?
Yeah, a team they should have beat the brakes off of. Zebra Parma.
So they beat the brakes off them. Bulls really, they played fucking well as well. Lions played well. Sharks was a bit disappointing considering they just came off of a Curry Cup win in the final.
To be fair, I don't know if you saw the social media photos, but looked like Eben, Faf, Sia, Vincent Koch. They're all in. Is it, how do you say Mauritius? That they were all on holiday, living like baller ass people because that's what they deserve after winning. little bit of kind of rumor news. It's looking like Sasha might be out for a while. He got knee, and I have to commend him because apparently he heard it and didn't tell anybody because he wanted to play against the All Blacks. Because
but I mean, at the same time, like him and Rassie made it all awkward, mate.
Yeah,
it's like Rassie was pissed because he said like apparently he said something to the likes of an 80% great player is not as good as 100% average player, something.
Yeah.
It was something like that. But anyway, so Rassie wanted him to tell them the truth and of course allow somebody else to play the game rather. But I mean, who would he have allowed to play? Honestly, who would he have gotten to play? I mean, Marnie was great this last weekend, right? But like there's other times when he wasn't great. I mean, so who would you have gotten to play?
Exactly.
Maybe Andre?
Well, after what we saw Jordan Hendrickson do. Jesus.
I don't know if you want to put him on playoff though.
A 59-meter kick. 59-meter kick, man. Like, what the shit was that? Like, I was already celebrating. I had my Lions jersey on. I'm jumping up, dancing. We won the Curry Cup. Yeah. Penalty. He's going for the post. And I'm like, there's no way he hits this. There's no way he hits. Oh, and he fucking nails it. And you're like, son of a bitch. Like, God, what a way to.
I think he pissed quite a number of people off, mate. And that's against his previous team as well.
Against his former employer, too, nonetheless, which that was kind of something. I know you're in Joburg, but you're a Bulls guy. I'm kind of the same way. Bulls is in my bloodline geographically, but, I am
pretty rugby, though. Like, they play a pretty brand of rugby. Nice attacking, like a lot of tries, which is awesome.
It's just with the Lions, it's like they're they're made up of scraps. They're made up of leftovers. Guys that don't sign with anyone else, they end up there and then they get turned into really good players. Nahamba's still looking good. You still see Horn looks great there. They've got a good team. Obviously, we saw them take care of Edinburgh this weekend, but it's like you kind of look at it like, and once again, the Sharks on paper should be like Leinster. They should be the best team. And they're not.
Yeah.
Not by far.
We know why that is, though. Shall we say call the names? Mr. Plumtree?
I mean, it's funny because like his son, I think, plays for Wales. Like, because his wife as well, he's Kiwi.
That is kind of weird.
His kid was born in South Africa. Because, like, Plumtree's been in South Africa for quite a long time. Yeah. Something I found out this weekend that kind of put me at like a what kind of thing. Talking about the legendary fly half from the 1980s, former USFL football player, Nos Botha.
No.
Nos is coaching a national team. Do you know what team he's coaching?
Fuck, I don't know.
He is the head coach of the Indian national rugby team.
Which?
Like India, the country. He is the head coach of their national rugby team. I'm like,
we better keep them away from the Curry Cup, mate.
I knew you were going to say so. I knew you were going to say something like that. I got to give a shout out. Some other followers told me that like, yeah, Nos Botha is the head coach of India, and I'm like, you're bullshitting me. And it's like, yeah. He also
is that confirmed though? Is that confirmed?
He is their head coach. Yeah.
I honestly didn't know they had a rugby team, to be quite frank.
They're playing in the Asian tournament right now. They just lost to like Sri Lanka. Like it's like one of those weird kind of. So
I didn't even know Sri Lanka had a fucking team.
Who's
the next people?
Like they play against like Thailand and South Korea and like all those weird like ones. Somebody had to also bring up something. I had watched back in 2018. I watched the USA, or back in 2017, I watched the USA play Brazil in the Rugby Americas tournament down in Austin, Texas. The head coach of the Brazilian national team. Now they keep saying he has no international experience. but he sure does. The head coach of the Brazilian national team at that time was none other than Razor Robertson.
Razor Robertson. Yeah, I knew you were gonna fucking say that, mate.
I was like,
just
holy
expecting
shit.
it. I was like, what?
And would you like to know the final score of that game, sir?
I actually have no bloody clue, but I would guesstimate that America beat the brakes off Brazil.
I believe it was 55-3 or 55-7. Yeah, like that was actually at a baseball stadium. It was actually where the Texas Rangers minor league team plays. But I was at that game. It was the most awkward seating arrangement because they did it down like the third base line. And so like a part of the pitch you can still see the dirt on it. And like, it was really funny. I actually ended up meeting the captain of the Brazilian team that day, and he was actually not Brazilian. He had a really odd accent, and I realized after about what?
Shocker.
Soccer.
No, shocker. I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. He had a really funny accent, and after about 10 seconds, I realized where he was from. Yeah, he was a Kiwi. He was a Kiwi living in Brazil. I was just like, I just thought it was hilarious. It was just like, okay, so they have a Razor Robertson and they have a Kiwi captain. So, but yeah. So big shout out to Nas Botha coaching a team that none of us. It's I'd say it's almost on level of like Alistair Coetzee coaching Namibia, but Namibia actually goes to World Cups. Like they actually, because they have the easiest qualification there is. All they have to beat is Uganda, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Rwanda. I totally forgot about Zimbabwe going to the first two World Cups because we weren't allowed to play in them for bullshit. Well, for good reasons, but still bullshit at the same time. But so they got in. The Ivory Coast got in as well, which is like I didn't even know they played rugby in the Ivory Coast. Like,
what beat scrums there?
I don't know.
What makes scrums win there?
I think they eat a lot of French fruit. I think Cote d'Ivoire is French, so I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea. Maybe. So I did want to bring up, because we got a couple of more minutes to kill off here. So Antoine Dupont was here in the U.S. this week. He took some photos at the Los Angeles Chargers camp, put on a helmet, ran out and caught a few passes, and the joke was, he'll come. No, he's way too short to play in the NFL. He's way too short to play anything other than soccer or rugby, basically. And then
tennis, cricket.
He went from LA to Miami, and he went to go meet up with Lionel Messi in Miami at the FC Miami, whatever their Major League Soccer team is called. Got photos holding jerseys. It's kind of the same promo crap. But that same facility that Miami uses, they share that facility with the rugby team, the Miami Sharks. And there's absolutely no mention of anything. Like if Antoine Dupont was to come to South Africa, he'd be at the Stormers, Sharks, Lions, Cheetah. He would be rugby facilities. That's what he would be.
Yeah.
We're hosting the World Cup in 7 years, and you couldn't even get who's considered the GOAT by a lot of people to visit a single rugby club in the United States.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's sad. Like,
look, that guy should go and motivate some people, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do something for the rugby, Like, fuck.
Like, yeah.
But I mean, he's French, mate. He is French.
I've done a great deal on TikTok in the last week of really pissing off French people just because apparently when they do their New Zealand tour next year, they're not sending down their top squad. They're sending down a B squad. And it's kind of look, guys, I have an English or an American colleague at work, and we talk about the French quite a bit. And he was telling me this story. It was a joke. But it was an elderly guy. He's a World War II veteran. He was flying to France, and he gets off the plane. They have the English and the French line to go through customs. And when he gets up to the guy, the guy's like, "Oh, I need to see your passport." He's like, yeah, give me a second. And he's fumbling through his bag trying to find all his documentation. And the guy's like, you should always have your documentation ready when you come into France. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Sonny. Back on June 6th, 1944, there were no French people asking me for documentation when I was storming a beach. it was kind of like one of those, like there's that one, or there's like, oh, you can buy used French rifles. They've never been fired and only dropped one time. And or like the American salute, the English salute, and then the French salute is putting your hands up. And like, I pissed off so many French people, and it's weird because like if I piss off Irish people or I piss off South Africans or anyone else, I just get called a fat dumb American, and that's like whatever. Okay, yes, I'm fat and I'm kind of dumb, but when I piss off when I piss off French people, like, dude, they send death threats to me, man, and I have to tell them. Like, look, of all the nationalities in the world that I'm afraid of, you're like at the bottom of the list.
Like, you're gonna beat me with a fucking bread. What are you gonna do?
Well, like, I live in Texas, man. Like, you guys are the least people we're afraid of in the world. Like, Texans are not afraid of French people. They're afraid of Arab people, yada yada yada. But the French, no, not so much. Not so much. But like, I'm more afraid of like an Afrikaner from like the Northwest or the Free State. Old man, when they get angry at you and they start calling you my friend, that's more scary to me than a French person being mad at me. Like, cause it's like when you get an old Afrikaner, old Boer, who calls you my friend, you're not his friend.
Yeah, it's what we call it. You're about to get a PK.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
You're about to get a push club. That's basically what's going to happen.
Yes.
So that old toppy is angry at you. So he'll fuck you up, right? So, another fucking French, right?
Like, when I get back, I'm hoping I don't see it, but if I do, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, being at a coffee shop and they like fuck up an old Boer's coffee order. He's like, it's like a Karen on like 300 milligrams of testosterone. You know?
No, for sure. But the problem is the Karen just wants to speak to the manager.
The old Boer wants to fuck the manager up.
Like, you got to teach all of your people today what is respect, mate. So it's like Victor Matfield at the coffee shop in the corner writing his poetry on his laptop, and Bakkies is going to be the guy grabbing the guy by his shirt. Listen here, you fucked my order. No. Look, mate. If Bakkies comes to eat at my restaurant or my coffee shop or my anywhere, I'm getting
that shit. Better be better be perfect.
I'm fucking leaving. I'm leaving the shop, mate. Like, I don't give a shit if I own the shop. I'm fucking leaving, bro. It's like nobody better be fucking up that guy's order because I'm not dealing with him. I'm sorry.
Like, it makes me wonder, like say Eben orders a steak at a restaurant and maybe it's not cooked perfectly, but he doesn't want to be a dick, so he eats it. And then when they come out at the end, how was that meal? And he was like, well, to be honest with you, my friend, the steak was a little overcooked. Like, are you going to automatically refund Eben, or are you going to accept like his ire, you know? Although I don't think Eben would do that. I think Eben would be like, fuck, man, it's a piece of meat. Let me eat that shit. I don't care. Like, I'll
eat his meat. I'll eat my meat. I'll eat the meat of the guy next door.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I'll fucking eat everything.
Yeah, it's kind of like Oxen Shay. I'm pretty sure there's no such thing as leftovers in Oxen Shay's refrigerator. Like, he eats everything that's not in front of him.
If you go to his fridge, it's not a leftover. It's just another fucking meal that he brought home with him. So it's not a leftover.
It makes you wonder if like somebody like Eben comes over to your house for a braai and maybe all you have is like light beer or something in your fridge. Do you think he ever just looks at it and goes like, yeah, I'll just have a bottle of water? You know, like, I'm not going to drink that shit.
I'm not drinking best water. Come on.
I'll have a bottle of water, man. I'm good.
I think they've put stronger stuff in that guy's veins than that, mate. So it's like,
God,
like
man.
when they have to like inject him, right? So no, I don't think so. But
it's fun. Like, I've met like some older rugby guys. Unfortunately, when I met Padre Wenenberg, he was drunk and he was rude as shit to me. But like, I looked at what beer he was drinking and I was a bit shocked. I want to say he was drinking like Michelob Ultra, which is like light calorie American beer. Maybe that's what was wrong with him. Yeah. Well, as I recall, it was a white can. I can't quite recall what it was. It was Houston, Texas. So obviously it wasn't like he was drinking a Toffel lager or something or a Windhoek because we don't get that here. But yeah, it kind of just makes you wonder. It's like, I wonder what Rassi drinks. Like, do you think he's a brandy guy, or do you think he's a beer guy, or do you think he's like a whiskey and Coke guy? Scotch, maybe?
Actually, he's probably one of the more difficult people to guess about, like, because Rassi likes keeping you on your toes, right? So he's be like, give me that whiskey. So like, I don't know.
I don't know anything about the Eastern Cape really. Like, he's from like Dispatch. I don't really know anything about and I don't think you do either. I don't think you've ever been to the Eastern Cape. So
no.
We're all
look, I mean, I think like most Afrikaans people like beer. We like brandy. Some of us like whiskey. I prefer brandy above whiskey, but I mean that's just me. And I love beer, so I love Guinness and stuff like that. So I like your dark beers.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, it's difficult to guess what he would like. I mean, I don't know. He might be sipping fucking martinis for all we know. So
I still think an odd moment happened. So having grown up on this side of the globe, obviously, you have Coke or you have Pepsi. In South Africa, you only have, like, you can get Pepsi, but everybody drinks Coke.
No, there's lots of Pepsi around. And I know a lot of people that drink Pepsi, but I think they're fucking mad.
Yeah, so that's the thing. When I asked for Pepsi, I'd get like, especially if I'm around South Africans, I just get this kind of like raised eyebrow look, like, what? Like, so I figured out a way around it, especially here in Texas. If I'm around South Africans, I just order a Dr. Pepper. they don't really. They're just like, it's just American. Get whatever,
Yeah. They're not like we know Dr. Pepper, but we're not.
That is the drink. That is
it's
the
not
drink
a competition,
here.
Right? It's not a competition. Right? Where Pepsi and Coke, like, we know that there's like this global feud, and we just choose Coke. We prefer Coke. I love Coke. I fucking hate Pepsi, to be honest. Yeah. So, but that's
it's a personal. Well, I mean, the first time I went into a bar in Stillwater, Oklahoma, it's like, college town in the middle of nowhere in Oklahoma, and I go up to the bar and I ask the guy for a vodka cranberry. Okay, this is Oklahoma. Okay, I mean, you could hear a chipolata like drop. Like, it was just dead silent in the bar, and everybody's looking at me like, "What did he just order?"
Fucking lady drink to this. I just order. What the fuck?
I would drink vodka cranberries for two reasons. One, because the cranberry juice keeps you cleaned out, and two, because it also covered up the vodka smell on your breath pretty well.
Oh yeah.
So I could drink 4 or 5. Now, I don't drink anymore, and a big reason why is because of vodka, because I don't know if you were ever a big vodka drinker. Vodka's the shit that you drink a fuckload of, and you're fine until you have to do something, and then it hits you like that, and you're like, fuck, I can't go anywhere. I'm fucking trash. It was kind of ordering a Pepsi around South Africans and ordering a vodka cranberry in the middle of America are two things that will get people to just look at you very, very. Or ordering a well done steak.
Yeah. Yeah, but who the fuck what is that? Like, I only know women that do that, to be honest.
Donald Trump eats well done steaks with ketchup.
Somebody slapped that man.
Well, so I've come to find out there are people that like well done. My wife's best friend Jessica likes well done steaks, and I'm like,
yeah, but women, I can expect that from. This is the thing. This is what I'm saying. I expect that.
Yeah,
men, we like animals, mate. We like the hunters. We're not the gatherers. People sit there. We're the fucking hunters, mate. We fucking kill that animal and fucking eat half of it on the way back to camp.
Yeah, okay? Jess likes medium. Jess likes hers medium, just like me. So that's why we're married, guys, because we like our steaks the same way. But
yeah, that's perfect.
It's
perfect for you.
But yeah, it's
Have you ever had steak blue?
that's raw, right?
Yeah,
No.
that's basically like, and then there you go.
So I've had steak tartare once. That's French raw steak, basically. I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I like a little bit of. I mean, I'm a medium guy. Like, I want a nice little slither of pink through the middle of my sirloin, and I'm good to go. But it's. I'm trying to master the art of cooking things that are not beef on a braai, like cooking chicken on a braai, which technically you're not. That's practically a vegetable to South Africans, but it's like
we like chicken now and then. We like
it's
chicken
like
now and then.
it's like it's like fish is only for sport. It's practically a vegetable. Don't eat. Oh God. Oh man, that's so bad. But and I know you don't like you're not a seafood guy. Jess loves catfish. I don't like the taste. It's just something about it that's off to me. But yeah. So another podcast in the books, another week. We talked about rugby and then talked about a bunch of random bullshit at the end, like we always do. So plans for the week. Do we got anything going on this week other than band practice or what?
Actually, I've got a golf day tomorrow.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but I'm not playing golf. We put our stuff on display on like a golf course.
Oh, you do a sponsor? You sponsor a hole?
Yeah,
sponsoring a hole?
Yeah.
Is Ernie Els going to be in the house?
No, mate. It's not professional golf. It's
okay.
What happens is like the ones that we generally get involved with. It's like, for instance, because we cater to the trucking industry, right? So and logistics. So it's generally like, let's say, hypothetically Volvo, right?
Okay.
They like getting all their customers out to come play some 4 balls and shit like that. Again, we obviously put display there, and of course, those guys are the guys that buy trucks, and those trucks do need fucking lock nuts.
Yeah.
So generally, that's where we would get involved. So when the guys come around with their 4 balls, we're like, hey, look at this awesome shit that we got right here, man. It's gonna save you so much fucking money.
Yeah.
Get our shit. So anyway, that's what we get involved with. So, but yeah, look, so we've got a golf day tomorrow, and then in the afternoon I've got band practice, as you mentioned. Rest of the week, work, mate. Just work.
Yeah, same here. I've got to go actually renew my driver's license on Tuesday. It's actually expired. It's been expired since my birthday, but there's such a backup. So I'm actually going to like try and clean myself up that day. So like my new driver's license picture doesn't look like John Goodman. Like my old driver's license picture.
Hey man, I love John Goodman, man. He was such a good actor.
I just have a little chin hair in my old driver's license picture. I didn't have a beard at the time because I was like, I wasn't a man yet. I guess I couldn't grow a beard yet. I wasn't a man yet. So, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't grow a beard until I was 30. Okay. Like it is what it is. Or maybe I just didn't want to at the time. I keep getting these like 20-year-old photos popping up on my memories. And it's just like, damn, dude, I should have kicked my own ass. I looked
like punch yourself in the face. Punch yourself in the face.
So I was clean shaven. I had like a I was obviously in much better shape. I looked a lot better because I think we all do when we're 22 years old. But
for sure.
I just was like a very odd looking early 20-something guy. I was an ex-athlete. I was into music, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah. So we'll be back next week. Thank you guys for coming out. Looks like we had each episode we've grown. We were up to, I think, 9-10 viewers today at one point today. So you guys keep coming back every week. We'll be talking about this next week. I'm waiting for the wider training camp to get announced. I really, really hope to see Cameron Hennecom this time. I want to see Hennecom.
No. Look, he's a good player. So I think he needs to also get a shot.
So we'll see how it goes from that. And we'll see you guys next week.
Lucky guys, thank you so much for coming out, and thanks for the chat in the live chat, man. We really appreciate it. And have yourselves a fantastic rest of your Sunday, and have a good flipping week this week.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.